Good morning, Alta Realty Group agents. This is Kevin Lauren. Hope you're all having a good morning and ready for another information-filled webinar. This morning we are joined by Bill Seitz from Clearview Mortgage. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Kevin.
All right, and I'm going to bring on Travis Breton, our corporate broker as well. Good morning, Travis.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We are about 9 miles north of good. All right, so today we're going to talk about agent safety, which is really important. It always pops up in the news, here and there, and it's something that we don't, want to, acknowledge, but we have to, because we have to stay safe as agents. We're out there, we're meeting people all the time, so it's a really important thing to discuss. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the current best practices for agent safety. So I think it's going to be a really important one for everyone. Bill, before we get into this, would you like to update us in the mortgage world?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Just want to say hello and hope that everyone had a good, long 3-day weekend. I know I certainly needed it. Last week was one of those weeks where you're just like, that was a humdinger.
A doozy.
Yeah, and yesterday started out pretty radical as well. So, but that's what we do in our business when we have to work through those moments and keep moving forward. That being said, we'll go through the 10-year treasury here in Kev. 1 second. I do want to welcome Araceli Diaz, and I think she's on this morning as kind of stepping in to see what we're all about. So welcome, Araceli, and we're happy to have you here this morning. So real quick, Kevin, I won't spend more than just a minute here. You got the what is it? The 1 year? Yeah, the 1 year chart. So rates are still trickling down here, and you can just see basically since August, it's dropped about 50 basis points. So we are definitely in a downward trend, and reports are that the Fed is going to possibly lower rates again this fall. I believe their next meeting is the end of the month. So it'll be interesting to see what their forecast is and what the plan is for the economy, because we're pretty much at rock bottom right now historically. So we'll see if we actually break through those kind of historical norms and get into a new threshold for financing and the cost of money. So especially in the real estate world. So that's about it, Kevin.
Bill, aren't some countries in negative returns?
That's right. So you actually, like in Europe, in I believe in Germany and a couple other countries, it actually costs you money to service the debt. So
wow,
that's not a good long-term solution for a healthy
economy. No,
yeah,
not so much.
So hopefully we don't get into that territory. I think everyone realizes that, as much as we want to have no interest on our loans, on our auto and home loans, we all realize it's not a good long-term solution.
No, but while they are low, everybody should refinance and make sure that you're getting money at the historical low points that it's at.
Yeah, no question. So we've had a couple of new loans pop in last week, so that's nice. And I know, Kevin, we're going to take care of you this week as well. So we're always very appreciative for anyone that's interested in using our in-house services. So thank you very much.
I'm excited to have lower payments. Yay. All right, Bill, thank you so much, buddy.
Of course.
Okay. All right, guys, let's get into the meat of our presentation today. And so there's a lot of great resources for agent safety. One of them is, there are a few services where you can basically do background checks. One that we use is called Forewarn. And so you can basically put in say you get a lead or somebody comes to you and you don't know the person, but they're interested in properties, and you can put their phone number in, or you can put a combination of their name and phone number in, and you can get some at least basic information. Have these people been in jail? Are they, they have a criminal record? Are they, have they been, involved in fraud? So it's not a bad idea to use a tool like that So just a real quick one. That's one that we use. But with that said, we're going to go through our 22 tips for real estate agents. And basically, this is all about your safety, making your safety come first. We all want to make money, but being safe is absolutely paramount. So the first step is make sure that the initial meeting with a new client or somebody that you don't know is in a public place. It's not advisable to meet a brand new client at a listing by yourself. So, and Travis, what would you have to say about that?
Yeah, especially obviously if it's a vacant listing, those are the ones you really got to watch for, because there's two dangers there. One is you don't know what's or who's in the house. There's I've walked into a couple myself that have vagrants in them, and
Yep.
it's not a fun thing to walk into. And then two, if you're meeting a stranger, obviously you don't want to meet them in a vacant house, especially it's kind of out in the country a little bit or something like that, which I have a lot of that around me as well. So
For sure. And I'll get into a couple of best practices for rural stuff in a little bit here. So, a really good practice is to record new client information electronically and make sure that, it's a really good idea to share that with your brokerage, share that with a co-realtor or even a friend. And so, if the meeting, if you're not able to meet a person in a public place, a really good idea is to take a picture of that person's driver's license and possibly even car license and send it by email or text to your broker or office manager, or even, like I said, another realtor or a friend. And then another thing that I'm going to make available to all of our agents is a prospect identification form. And so a lot of brokerages are using this now. So, two things. First, you're being very professional, and a prospect that is genuinely interested and is not, looking to defraud you or hurt you in any way, they're going to be okay with, giving the information about themselves. Because they understand, and you can totally preface that. Oh, this is, our brokerage's, best practice, and this is a requirement. Our brokerage, wants us to be safe, and so let's just fill out this form real quick, and let me just take a picture of your driver's license. Anybody that is shady and doesn't want you to do that, it's a red flag. And so any of the, as we'll talk about in a second here, any red flags or any things that just don't add up and just don't seem right, they probably aren't, and you need to immediately get away from the situation. So client information electronically is huge. Just that right there. This step right here will really, keep you safe. Right, Travis?
definitely. And just keep your safety in mind all the time. We all obviously work to earn a commission. The commissions are, big in some cases, but don't let money blind you.
Right.
Your safety is always first. So don't, always keep that in mind.
For sure. Same thing with jewelry. Number 3, keep your jewelry under wraps. Don't when you even in your profile pictures and stuff like that, don't wear huge, expensive, glamorous jewelry. You can look classy without being super flashy. You can look very elegant without bling, right? So that's really what you want to be going for in your pictures, and also, of course, when you show up to meetings. If you have, of course, if you have a nice car, that's nothing to hide. You're going to show up in a nice car and a very clean car, but, big blingy jewelry, that might not be the best thing to do as a realtor. So let's keep that under wraps. Also, you want to limit the personal information that you share. Your client doesn't need to know everything about you, doesn't need to know, that you're going to be out tonight at your son's soccer game, and, so they know where you are. You want to keep, your personal information close to the vest, and, and develop that rapport, of course. And we really preach that, your sphere of influence is, people that trust you, and you want to be able to trust them back, but just be aware and just make sure that, especially in the beginning, when you don't know these people, just try not to put too much of your personal information out there. And then also separate personal information from your professional. So, don't put your home address on your website and your cards and stuff like that. And it's a really good idea, if you have some people just like to have that one personal email, but it's not a bad idea to have a personal email and then have a professional email address as well. And you can, have them all go in the same mailbox. So that's not a big deal, but it's just a good idea to kind of separate personal from professional, at least on the outside and what you're projecting out. Make your clients feel known. That's a great one. Introduce your prospect to somebody, if you're in the office or even if you're, meeting with them for the first time, maybe even get on the phone with, like I said, with a coworker and say, hey, or have your coworker call you at an opportune moment so you can say, hey, I'm with so-and-so, I'm with this name. And you can at least make the client feel like they're known. So if it's somebody that is an assailant, they're not going to want to do that. And or it might deter them because, oh, whoa, now everybody knows who I am. This is my plan, my attack isn't going to work now, right? So that's a really good idea as well. Let someone know your plans. This is huge. We've also will make this available to all of our agents, the agent itinerary form. So you can make sure that when you're scheduled to go do something with a client, you can fill out your agent itinerary form and you can send it to me, or you can send it to one of our staff. So that's a really good idea. Keep you safe. So somebody knows where you were and what you're doing. Another one, this is a big one, as Travis was talking about. Don't list the properties as vacant. That's how you're going to get vagrants in your properties and in your listings. And so, avoid, listing them as vacant. Nobody needs to know that. That's not information that needs to be, disseminated to the public, right? Never park in the driveway. This is kind of an interesting one. So when you're showing a home, park on the curb in front. And here's why. If somebody has a plan to do something bad to you, they can pull their car behind you in the driveway and block you in. So it's just something that, you may not think about, but, give yourself the means to escape if you have to, for lack of a better way, or for lack of a better term. Travis, do you have any comment there?
No, I definitely agree with that. It's, I don't know. I kind of grew up with that. Parents always saying, always look for an out, be aware of your surroundings, things like that. So yeah, I don't ever park in a driveway anyways, but I try and park on the street, even if it's a little bit of a walk.
Yeah, and I think as the realtor, when you're showing a home, I think it's slightly impolite, perhaps, to park in the driveway.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. But I don't
it's
know
not a horrible thing, but I think, yeah, I think just ultimate courtesy and all that is great. And, and this is kind of this whole webinar is a little scary, right? But let's not be paranoid. But and that's not what this is about. This is about just being vigilant and just, having these things in the back of your head to stay safe. So there's no paranoia here. Show properties during the day. That's a great idea. Somehow when it's darker, it's, people can hide and it's a little bit scarier. It's easier to get away with things, right? So show properties during the day. And then don't lower the shades, when you're showing properties. Make sure the shades are open. You want that anyway. You always want to be letting in light and making sure that you're showing the property in its best light, for lack of a better word. This is a great one too. Choose a safe word or a code word that you can establish as a distress kind of a call to a friend or a coworker. So say that, and here's their example. Hi, this is Jane. I'm at, the address. Could you send me the red file? And if, maybe that's the code for I'm in trouble, I'm at this address, I need help, send the police, right? So you could have a safe word or a code. And can easily, alert someone. And same thing with a text message, red file, bad time. Okay, so you could have a couple of different ways that you could alert someone in a very clandestine way. Leave your belongings in your car. Don't take your purse, laptop into the house. Lock it in the trunk before you arrive. Make sure that it's not somewhere, because some of these would-be prospects, they might just be looking to rip off of a small item. They might not be ready to perpetrate some gigantic crime or abduct you or something like that, but they might be just in it to rip off a laptop. So be vigilant of that kind of stuff. Don't leave your belongings around, right? Always have your phone. That's a no-brainer. You can text, just like I said, you can text, call for help, anytime. Rural areas, we'll talk about that in a second. That's a little different. Have a security app. Do a Google search for security apps on the internet. There's tons of them. Or just do a search on your phone in the App Store. There's easy little panic button security apps that can alert whoever the heck you want. So that's an easy one. Let clients walk in front. This is a great one, and honestly, a polite and better way to show a house anyway. Always lead the client, or say oh, and now we're going into this room, and let them walk in first. So that way you have your eyes on them, right? Especially if you're alone. Especially. So let them come on in. The kitchen is on your left. Go on in there. And then if there's attics or basements or kind of dark alcovey areas of the home, you don't need to go into those places with your client. You can absolutely point them, go on down to the basement. It's all yours, and you could even, stand kind of up on the stairs. And so you don't have to get yourself into situations where you could possibly get trapped, right? No need to do that. Just, it's really common sense stuff, but just discussing it, I think, really helps us think about this stuff so we actually do stay safe. So look around your car. This is a huge one just in general. Just, when you're getting into your car alone, just take a glance in the back seat. Make sure there's nobody lurking in there. That's an easy one. Or even underneath your car. And then right when you get in, lock the doors. Because that is a time when abductions can occur, is that split second when you are getting in your car. So right when you get in your car, lock the doors. Easy deal. Dress for the weather. This is more of just, being safe, and, so especially if you're in cold climates. I know we're all in California. It's not that big of a deal, but definitely dress for the weather. Always, bring a jacket. California could be warm or cold, and it can change in a minute. So always be prepared for that, and always, keep a little bit of a safety kit in your car. Always have extra water. I always keep a thermal safety blanket in my car, and a first aid kit. So just some basic stuff. Number 20, take a self-defense class. Why not? That's a great idea. There's a few, even just, a once or twice class can teach you a few really good maneuvers to get away from someone. There's just a few different, techniques that they can teach you, as well as they also can teach you ways to be very assertive and have powerful communication that also deters would-be assailants. So really good idea. I think all agents should take even just a one-time self-defense class. They're cheap. They're in every community. Do an internet search, find a local class, and take it. Never hesitate to call for help. Absolutely. Always. If you sense anything, make a call. And if it's a real emergency, don't hesitate to dial 911 and have that have it on. And then obviously, I think we've been talking about this the entire webinar, is trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And even if it feels off and, there's really nothing to it, be safe, figure out an alternative. And, just make sure that you're always keeping your safety and, of course, the safety of your clients in mind as well. So this also extends to keeping your clients safe. So when you have all of these techniques and you've taken a self-defense class and, you are keeping all of these points in mind, well, you are also more prepared to protect your clients. So it's always, there's a lot to this, right, Travis?
Definitely. If we could circle back to like the basement part, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I know we all have, our way of showing properties, and we have some newer agents that maybe don't have I guess a routine yet, but something that I've kind of just developed over the years is, I guess my style of showing is I kind of hang back. I don't, and it's for two reasons. One, I don't want to feel over, like I'm just breathing down their neck while they're trying to, see if this home is their next home or not. But
Right.
I kind of hang back enough to where they feel my presence if they want to ask me a question, or maybe if they're thinking about, looking in the medicine cabinet or something. But enough away to where, if I needed to run out the door or something like that, then I definitely could very easily. So same thing with, going upstairs or downstairs, if you feel compelled to be near them when they're upstairs just because you don't know who they are, maybe you've only been with them a couple times or something like that, and you don't want them to possibly look in a jewelry box or something, then maybe just hang at the top of the stairs, in the hallway or something like that. Again, enough away to where you can get away, but you don't necessarily need to go upstairs or downstairs into a basement. I would recommend kind of staying on the main level, the entry level, and just think about that when you're showing the homes. Safety is definitely first. I don't know what it is, but realtors are becoming more targets lately. I see, it used to be kind of like every couple of years we'd hear about an abduction or something like that. And I swear it's like literally every month or so now I see something where someone was attacked or missing or something like that in different areas of the U.S. And it's definitely becoming more prevalent. So we need to really be mindful when we're.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and unfortunately, I don't want to generalize, but I'm sure in a lot of those situations, they weren't prepared and they were not thinking about all these things, right? So,
Exactly.
so
You know,
yeah. So, I mean, come on, we have to do all this stuff. We have to make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe. And it doesn't take, none of these things are, especially um, just filling out our form, our prospect identification forms. These things are they're not that hard to do, and they're gonna keep you safe. Because when you're doing this, you're gonna be deterring. You're actively deterring, someone from, possibly carrying out a plan. When you're prepared like this, they're gonna, oh, well, I'm gonna go to the next realtor if I'm, right? They're gonna go and mess with somebody that's not prepared. So all of these things are really, really important. Of course, I'm going to make these available to all of the agents, and I'll have them in the Agent Resource Center. And then there's the National Association of Realtors, and I have a couple of different links, and I've got this at the bottom of this document here. So I'll make sure that when I put the replay out, all of these links are there as well. So this is a really cool thing from NAR, 56 safety tips for realtors. So it goes through a lot of the same stuff that we went through, but in a different way, and it's coming straight from NAR, which is awesome. So I want all of you guys to go through all of these on your own and just make sure that you're, again, just being vigilant and just getting these things in your head so we are staying safe. So really, really cool article there. And then another thing is here's where we can get additional agent identification forms, agent itineraries, office safety action plan, prospect identification forms, all those same things that I just showed you guys are available directly from NAR. And then here was a great article that I found, 7 dangerous practices that you think are safe. So this was kind of interesting. It was a good read. So, and some of it is exactly, kind of what we've already talked about, but it's worth going through. So leaving your belongings unattended at an open house or even at the office. Yeah, we already talked about that. That's not a good idea. Easy for someone to just go ahead and steal anything they need. So we don't do that. Relying on your cell phone in case of an emergency while showing rural properties. So again, if you're out of cell service, this is where it's really important for you to have that action plan with someone outside the area and let them know that you're only planning on being out of cell service for this amount of time. And you're going to check back in when you get back into signal strength. So really, really cool. Also, these are cool. There are what's called cell boosters or electronic, Wi-Fi boosters. And I just got one of these myself, and they work really well. So they'll boost the cell signal to give you a little bit better, chance of having cell service in a rural area. So a great idea to do that. And then, one of the things that, is a definite, it's something that people think is true, but it's definitely not. Only working the good part of town will keep you safe. No, not at all. So, the studies show that, criminals often do target upscale areas because of the higher potential payday. So that's definitely a dangerous practice that you think you're safe. No. Using shared technology carelessly. We're all on the road. We're all out in the field a lot. We're using Wi-Fi. We're using, coffee shop Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. Be real vigilant of what you're putting when you're logged into those places, what you're doing, because there is the, possibility of people being able to, see what you're doing. So be real careful there. Thinking daytime showings are safer than nighttime showings. Well, we talked about that. It's probably a little bit safer at night, but the sad fact is that most of these things that are happening, they've happened during the day. So don't just think, oh, because I'm doing a day showing, I can ignore all these other safety, things. Don't do that. And then dismissing suspicious incidents that don't result in attack. This is a good one. Keep a real good eye and communicate with the other agents, in your area, because if a couple different agents are having strange run-ins with the same guy or the same prospective, buyer, and nothing happens, but just the same weird stuff's happening, they might be, casing and testing their methods before they launch an attack. So be real, vigilant about that kind of stuff as well. And then, not having emergency roadside equipment. I talked about that. It's a great idea to just have a, first aid kit, emergency blanket, extra water, a couple really basic things can help you a lot. So that is the balance of the webinar today. Bill Seitz, do you have any takeaways?
Yeah, I do, Kevin. Let's see. Open house is a big one, right? A lot of us do open houses. A lot of us know that's a good way to bring exposure to the property on the weekends and also prospect for new clients. And I remember a couple years back, there was some, publicity about there was a couple that was going around in open houses here in Newport Beach where they were basically, one would kind of talk to the agent while the other one's kind of, looking through the property, and they were taking personal belongings of the sellers or taking items that they could, anything they could get as they were going from home to home. And so that there was, multiple police reports on that. And that was kind of going through the real estate community here a couple of years ago. So I think it's super important. And I know in the listing agreement and the seller advisory, there's a notice, of really getting your sellers aware of what things they should be locking up, what things that should be completely removed out of the house or in a safe during the process of selling the home. That's paramount. You've got to do that. Unfortunately, this is, the webinars are all about marketing and lead generation, all stuff. Unfortunately, this is something that has to be tackled. So those things are things that we really have to think about. One thing that wasn't mentioned, Kevin, that I do think is important for women and possibly for the men agents, having mace or pepper spray in your purse can always be a good option if needed. You just never know if that might make a difference of getting someone to back off or retreat.
Yeah. Or a Colt 45, either way. No.
You gotta have your concealed carry for that, but maybe some of you have that.
No, great point, Bill. And it's not hard to do. It's an easy thing, especially for women who normally carry a purse. That's a no-brainer. Great call there.
Yeah, and then lastly, as we get into the fall months, when we hit daylight savings, when it kind of flip-flops, where the mornings are, we're getting an extra hour of light in the morning. We start losing light 4 o'clock, 4:30. A lot of people show homes after work. We've got clients that can't get to the property until it's nighttime. It's really important to have these things in place as we do start working a little more into the evenings, dusk and into the night, because we know that's where opportunity will also present itself. So that's about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bill. Very good insights. Travis, any other closing thoughts for you?
Open houses, just think buddy system.
Yeah.
It's not bad to have a lender there with you, or even a friend, someone else with you, that it is less of a deterrent. You can kind of tag team when there's a 2-story house, one upstairs, downstairs, And one other quick thing, I know putting pictures is more prevalent these days on our signs, on our open house signs and things like that. And I ran across a thread a couple months ago where this agent, she had her photo on all of her open house signs, basically leading people to the house. And she had kind of a sexual innuendo written on it. And I thought that it was just really somewhat unprofessional, but also, what are you leading to the house?
Yeah, yikes.
So I think just be really, consider maybe not putting your picture on the open house signs, on your, regular signs. Yes, no, that's your decision, but just kind of think about that too, especially if you're not using the buddy system, because you never know what kind of person is out there and what they're looking for that day.
Yep.
So, and if you're leading them to an empty house, that could spell trouble.
Absolutely. No, that's a really good point. Appreciate that, Travis. So guys, if you guys have any specific questions about safety, you can contact me directly. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that when I put the replay out today, it's going to have the links to these various resources, and then in the Agent Resource Center on arghome.net, I'll make the forms available. I'll make this available. I'll make the client intake form available, and I'll make the itinerary available. So you guys will have all that stuff. Get out there, make it a great week, and we're getting into fall, so this is kind of my favorite time of year. So use that energy, make yourself a promise to yourself that you're going to go out and make it a great week and a productive week, and look forward to seeing you guys on the webinar next week.